Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is There is No End of All the People. This is taken directly from the book of Ecclesiastes, 4th chapter, which we're going to get to. And pretty much this lesson comes through inspiration of a video I was watching. Elder Pastor, he got a strike on his page. GMS declaring the end. So he's, for the time being, he said he had a 90-day suspension. So for the time being, he'll be uploading here on what is the 666 Mark II, GMS Truth. I have this in the description box. So if you haven't subscribed to this page, Babakusha, subscribe to it and be edified. I was watching a video he did earlier, a deep dive into some history of the Idumeans, right? And pretty much he was reading through here some info online, and pretty much these individuals said that the Edomites, stop existing in written history, after about a certain period of time. And just because of people stop existing in written history doesn't mean they don't still exist. All right. Now I got a couple of pages here, which I also put in the description box from Enduring Word. And I want to read this because these people here are either they double-minded or they're doing this on purpose to mess people up. But it seemed like on the one hand, they're saying that, and I didn't read the whole thing, so I don't know what the conclusion of the whole matter is on this. But what I do want to read here is because they're saying that the Edomites were completely done away with. But then on the other page on the same site, they're telling you something different. They're kind of hinting, because David Guzik, which is a scholar, he said that the Edomites will be here when Yahushua comes back, but he doesn't subscribe to that. I don't remember exactly how he said it. I don't even remember what video it was. But that's what he said. All right. So let's read this real quick. It says, so what happened to the Edomites? They were judged by the Most High as the prophets said would happen, so much as Obadiah and Jeremiah. The Edomites were conquered by the Nabateans, Arabs, perhaps as early as 500 BC. Many of the surviving Edomites went to the area of southern Judea, the land of the western side of the Dead Sea. These became known as Idumeans, also mixed with people already living in that area, that area. This, they should do a little, checking on the typos, man. Find somebody to edit their page for them. By the end of spring, AD 68, the Romans had laid waste to Idumea. This was effectively the end of the Edomite people, which it wasn't, because you still had, the Herodian dynasty that was around, and other Edomites that were still around, who had been in decline and mixing with neighboring peoples for a long time. And this is what Esau does. He puts in a lot of conjecture, a lot of, superstitions, a lot of, theories as to what's going on, just to wipe out the Edomites out of history. Now I'm going to read this precept real quick, right? Ecclesiastes 4:16, there is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So there is no end of all the people. The only people that are destined to be erased from the planet are the Edomites, but that hasn't happened yet because Yahushua hasn't gotten back here yet. We haven't got our revenge on these people yet. When the kingdom is established, that's when, it's going to go into phase 2. Okay, so going back, it says, as a genetic people. So who had been in decline and mixing with neighboring peoples for a long time, as a genetic people, the descendants of Esau are lost to history. And just because they're lost to history doesn't mean that they don't exist still. And I'm going to show you the double-mindedness of these people here. right? So the descendants of Esau are lost to history. And just because you call them lost to history doesn't mean that they cease to exist as a people. Just like when you go back to Genesis, the 10th chapter, which they call the Table of Nations, all of those nations are still here on the planet. All right. They just been they as they've been conquered and colonized, their names have been changed. Of course, their DNA lives on in some sense. Here goes again Esau with his conjectures and yeah, possibly, but we don't really believe that. Anyways, let's go real quick to first. This is why we don't take anything serious that these devils, say, because they're double tongued. Everything that they do is double tongued. Nope. Everything that they do is double tongued. First Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, which is what? The understanding of this doctrine of the ministry. Avoiding profane and vain babblers. Don't be rambling. Inside joke. And oppositions of science falsely so called. Because Esau, what he is a professional liar. But he's a bad liar at that. He's a good liar, but a bad liar. And the reason why I say he's a good liar and a bad liar, because he tells lies, but when you scrutinize them, they fall apart to scrutiny. If you have your head screwed on right. Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies. You are all physicians of no value. So they're forgers of lies. They just pretty much make it up as they go. That's why Yahushua told them wicked Pharisees, you are of your father the devil, and lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh his own. Why? Because he puts himself within those lies. Now, there's a book called The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. When you go to Protocol 16, it tells you right in there, and it was written by small hats, that they would erase from history any history that was unfavorable to them. So what's more unfavorable to the small hats than the history of the Edomites? And that's why they'll try to erase the Edomites out of existence by, an edict or a theory. So going back, it said that they lost to history. Of course, their DNA lives on in some sense, but they are so intermixed with other peoples that there is no definable genetic group of Edomites today. How the fuck do you know? Do you have the DNA of Esau himself and of actual Edomites from back then, where you could actually test to see, that if their DNA matches the DNA of today? But you see, these devils, they'll say whatever. And these are supposed to be people that break the scriptures down. They'll say whatever and people just swallow it down. Why? Because of their face. The lighter face. So if it's white, it must be right. It is a strange and sobering thought. The Edomites were a people so numerous and prominent that the Most High devoted an entire chapter at the first book of Moses to listing the names of their chiefs and notable men. Yet because of their many sins, including the sin of rejoicing and offering no help, when their cousin nation Israel was attacked. First of all, you idiots. Esau and Israel are brothers. You stupid, dumbhead, hammerhead, so-called, call yourself breaking the scriptures down. They were brothers. How the hell can they be cousins when they were brothers? The Most High upon them was, it says, cousin nation Israel. It says, the Most High brought upon them a severe judgment, so severe that they no longer exist as a people. Yeah, because you say so, right? But we read different. Ecclesiastes 4:16, there is no end of all the people. So all peoples that are on the planet Earth will be here until Yahushua comes back, establishes his kingdom on the earth, first takes down all the heathen kingdoms, subjects all of these nations under us, the Israelites. They serve out their captivity. Then after they serve out their captivity, they will be judged. The Edomites, I mean. and they will be gathered up, as it says in Obadiah 1:18, and burnt, every last one of them. Then they will exist to be a nation of people on the planet. It is also significant that the Most High has preserved the people of Israel when they could have ended up as Edom. It shows a basic truth, how good it is to be in the Most High's favor. Yeah, and you're not the Israelites, unless your line goes back to Jake. By the grace of, you got Jezekui there, and how terrible it is to be the target of his judgment. Now, in the same breath, these same individuals that said that, right? Like I said, I put this in the description box. I read the main point. There's a little bit more on top, but I want to go to this one, same enduring word. What happened to the Edomites? Who is the nation of Edom today? Because it's prophesied in Isaiah 63, 1-4, and Isaiah 34, 5-8, that Yahushai, they put that, it's supposed to be that Yahushai will come back to a kingdom. Yahushai will come back to a kingdom ruled by Edom. So they still have to be on earth today. So if that's the case, why are you speaking out of both sides of your mouth? Don't the scriptures tell us that? Let's go to James. You got to read that again, because see how slick these devils are? And that's in a whole nother different page on the same website. James 1:8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Why? Because these devils are double-tongued. On the one hand, over here, they're saying that the nation of the nation of Esau does not exist today. Right? So severe that they no longer exist as a people. But here in this one, it says that the Lord, when he comes back, he's going to judge or come to judge a nation or a kingdom ruled by the Edomites. So they still have to be on earth. So what today? So what is it? Have they been done away with in 500 BC by the Nabateans, and then a little bit sprinkled around, that were called Idumeans, were intermingled so much with the other nations that they disappeared, and their DNA, it might still be around, but they ceased as being a nation? Or are they going to be here ruling the kingdom, the final kingdom on earth before Yahushua comes back? Let's go to 2nd Esdras. You got to watch these devils, man. You got to watch these devils. You got to watch these devils. These devils are very slippery. They like to wiggle around, like Elder Yashwamba likes to say. 2nd Esdras 6:7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Esau is the end of the age. They will be the final rulers on the planet before Yahushua comes back to kick ass. And when the scriptures say that no man was able to make war with the beast, that's Esau. Why? Because one of the greatest gifts or blessings that Esau got was the sword. Nobody can touch it. Well, the Russians, they got the power. They're stronger than these so-called white people over here in NATO and EU. Yeah, but they're also Edomites. Duh. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So going back here, so he's saying that when the Lord comes back, that Esau will still be here on earth today. He's saying, I would disagree. Okay, so I didn't read this part. It's true that Edom is mentioned in both Isaiah 63 and Isaiah 34. Let's see what the bullshit spin they're going to put on it. In connection to the Most High's ultimate judgment. But this is because the Edomites were prominent among the nations around Israel that hated Israel. Yeah, so this proves what? This proves that they're not around anymore because they hated Israel? But do you see the doctor spinology that these devils are trying to put on this? So the reason why he disagrees is because the Edomite nation hates the Israelites. Their hatred of Israel was kind of ironic because the Edomites were descended from Esau, the brother of Jacob, who later became Israel. So what is it? Are they cousins or are they brothers? Wow. Inquiring minds want to know. They settled on the eastern side of Jordan River, essentially on the eastern side of the Dead Sea. In his comment, Isaiah, blah, blah, blah. Edom was a sister nation to Israel. Therefore, we said, let's see, reason Edom. So here, he's not dealing with the scriptures, right? He's saying that, nope, there's not, they're no longer around. I disagree with that. And the reason why I disagree, because in his comment on Isaiah, Volturna, not the scriptures, but his comment, his commentary, gives a good sense of this. Edom was a sister nation to Israel, but it hated Israel more than any other nation. Throughout all of history, we see a burning hatred of Edom against Israel. Oh, it burns. Their hatred burns so much. I guess that was the fulfillment of them being burnt up, right? Fuck out of here. It is for this reason that Edom's frequently presented as a representation of all the nations that hated the Jews. Okay. We're waiting for the punchline. So that means that they're done away with because they hated the Israelites. Therefore, we see in both Isaiah 63 and Isaiah 34 that Edom is representative of the nations. Oh my Lord. Lies, treachery. And this is why it says that, these devils speak with a forked tongue. Throughout all of history, we see a burning hatred of Edom against Israel. It is for this reason that Edom is frequently presented as a representation of all the nations that hated the Israel. Oh my goodness. Therefore, we see both in Isaiah 63 and Isaiah 34 that Edom is a representative of the nations who are against the Most High and his people. Bullshit. 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 Let's go from there to the book of Malachi. Let's go to Malachi. Chapter 1. You can start at 1, straight to the point. Verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down. Because you see, they built the world up. Scriptures never say anything about Japhet ruling and building, these monuments, as you see, these big, tall skyscrapers. All right. They didn't build high. The nations back then didn't build high. The only, time that there was a high building going up was during the time of the Babylonian Empire, which was the Tower of Babel, and the Most High destroyed that. It says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, because wherever these devils are, they are the wicked. And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So the Lord cannot stand Esau. It's not a representation of all nations. It's a representation of that particular nation that will be here, that is here, and will be here when Yahushua comes back to take his rightful place on the throne. Isaiah 34 and 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, the people, and upon the people of my curse to what? Judgment, not the nations. The nations are going to be here. The nations are going to get judged, their militaries and their rulers, but Esau is going to be in power at this time. All right, and the head nation that runs these nations are the Edomites. How many times? Let's go to Psalms 83. But this is what these devils do. They put a spin on all this stuff. Psalms 83. You can read the whole thing. I'm just go straight to the point in verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, first on the list. You are the head of this, because you are the head nation today, and you are also the head nation that came up against us and fought against us, as the Amalekites, which is the top of your squad, which are them small hats. It says, and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. So it goes on and on and on. But the first people are what? The Edomites, distinguishable from other nations. You're going to be judged as nations, individually. Not that all these nations together that hate us are all, known as Edomites. Bullshit. But that's what the devil does. And guess what? Jacob read this and be like, damn, that's heavy, man. That's what I'm talking about. Remember, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. Says Isaiah is connecting the judgment against the Edomites, who were known as those who hated the Most High and his people, with the ultimate judgment at the return of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yeah, because they're going to be here. We just read the people in Isaiah 34. We just read that. Isaiah 34 and 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. It's them, the people, the Edomites, which will be here when they come back. I don't give a damn if you disagree with it. Matter of fact, I don't care if you don't believe it or not, accept it or not. It's not up to you. You devils done had your turn. You had your time to rule. You had your time to talk your shit. You had your time to lie to the world. You had your time to put your spin on everything. Everybody was mesmerized by you at one time. No more. The Lord ripped that veil off of the eyes of the elect of the nation of Israel. And certain nations out there, they seeing right through your shit, and we see right through you. But the average Jake out there and the average person that subscribes to these people, they'll just accept that. Why? Because they know that Esau has a terrible judgment. The Edomites have a terrible judgment, and they don't want to associate with that. So the best thing they could do is write them off in history. Nope, they're no longer around. And when it speaks about the future judgment of Esau, that's talking about all the nations that come together that hate the nation of Israel, which they talking about them small as, but that's not what it's talking about. So get it right, troop. Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Because you don't believe it, does it mean that the Lord ain't going to achieve it? The Most High forbid. You're not gonna make the because of your unbelief, you're not gonna make the faith of the Most High without effect. The Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So the Edomites are here. The Edomites are ruling. The Edomites will be judged, and they will be here. They are here and will be here when Yahushua comes back to judge them. But you see what the devil does. He tries to put a spin on everything. So I put both of these in the description box for you, studious brothers that, want to get into it. It's a whole site of different stuff that they got on here. And I also put, this is Elder Pastor's page. What is the 666? What is the 666 Mark II GMS space GMS Truth? And I put this link to the whole page in the description box. For those of you that have not subscribed to the Apostles backup page, I suggest you do so you can be constantly edified. So with that, I pray that you brothers and a few sisters out there have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.